Glossary of Legal Terms, Charge Off. Brought to you by yourlegalagot.com, your advantage if you're being sued by debt collectors. Hi everybody, this video is part of our glossary series where we explain legalese to ordinary people. You will find the link to a page linking all the glossary videos in the video description below. We tell you what the term is, what it means, and what the legal context is in these videos. We point you to other sources of information if necessary, and then discuss what it all might mean to your defense. Today's term is much misunderstood: charge-offs. Charge-off isn't a legal term, it's really an accounting term, but it's come to have some legal significance. To make that clear, let me give you a little background. First, as you probably know, just about everything in law has an expiration date called the statute of limitations. There's a video on statutes of limitations in the glossary. The way a statute of limitations works isn't always obvious. The statute starts running, that is, the clock starts ticking, when the event giving rise to a legal claim is complete, and that's not always clear. To put that in plain English, in a debt context, a debt collector has a certain amount of time to sue you after you allegedly fail to pay a bill. Failing to pay the bill is called a default, and that starts the clock ticking. On property contracts, for example, the breach is usually pretty clear. On credit cards that carry a balance that simply grows if you miss a payment, it isn't so clear. Back in the old days, it used to be anybody's guess when the default occurred. The creditor didn't have to set the date at any particular point and could eventually bring suit whenever it wanted to, claiming that it had extended the time for payment till right before filing suit. In other words, there was effectively no statute of limitations, or it was very difficult to figure out on an open account. Congress changed that and began requiring creditors to charge off the debt at some point. I think it's 90 days after the failure to make payment, unless there's some other event justifying otherwise, a payment plan, for example. This charge-off sets the beginning of the running of statute of limitations. There are tax consequences as well for the creditor. You know the internet. There's a tendency of people to pick up on anything that isn't understood very well and suggest there's more to it than there really is. In the case of charge-offs, what some people say is that the charge-off terminates your obligation to pay. The charge-off event does not affect your obligation to pay at all. It doesn't affect ownership of the debt, and it rarely even has any impact on attempts to collect the debt. It's an internal thing. It does probably mean that the credit card company isn't going to let you use your card anymore, though, and it may add a little damage to your credit report. That's it. It isn't a legal event at all, really. Although it does start the clock ticking on the statute of limitations, don't let people tell you that you don't owe the debt after it's been charged off. That's wrong. It's still there as much as it ever was, and the creditor still wants its money. It may or may not sell the debt to someone else. For more on that, take a look at our video and other materials on assignment of debts. Of course, you know you can't take any of my videos as legal advice. They and the glossary are educational. They're made by someone who used to practice a lot of this kind of law, and they're designed to help you develop your own judgment. Most people can represent themselves in debt cases because of the kind of law it is and the kind of business it involves, but you don't have to do it alone. In fact, if you're representing yourself, you may want more help, and that's where our memberships and products come in. You'll find the link to the glossary below in the video description. You will also find a link to a page linking all of the videos in this series. Helping people protect their rights is what we do. Protect what's yours and don't let the debt collectors rip you off. yourlegalagot.com